and I just want to say, so listening to Mr. Robinson and Max, and listening to your answers, one of the things that I gathered, even when you were answering Hannah, you were mentioning, and I myself am guilty of this, mentioning your personal growth as a human being and what you have gone through in life and how your ideas and perspectives mold who you are, and how they would translate into the character that you would play. And I just wanted to make if that was something that you're conscious of, and say, well, the more I understand about this and the world and things that I'm passionate about, because that's one thing I noticed with Aaron. He was extremely passionate about the world and making changes. And I feel like he would translate those passions back to the character. And that's what I really want to ask you about, your personal passions and how they translate into how you would see the character going forward.
Yeah, that's a great thing to say, sir. Like, it really is. Because I mean, that's the thing that, for me, all my life and my career as an actor, it's that's been about my passion. And you start off as a young guy. I start off as a young guy thinking, for whatever reasons, to become an actor, and there are a lot of the usual stuff. I mean, it's, you want to be seen, maybe you want to be celebrated, maybe you want to get girls, make a few bucks and whatever. But that doesn't a career make. The career comes out of the passion that you're talking about.
Yeah, of course. I feel like although characters are written a certain way, the actor that portrays that character brings in a specific aspect of themselves. Like, that's something that shows the characters, like, morals and values and whatnot in a way. So
yeah, that will always bleed through. I mean, a person's character is like, man, it's more than just, funny walks and funny talks. I mean, character is deep, and that bleeds through. And, and I think that everybody who is on this show, this is the thing, had a real moral character, right? And that came through. I mean, Aaron's humor, his humor, which was so beautiful, I mean, and his innocence, but yet he was sharp as a tack, and didn't suffer fools. All that comes through. I mean, we can't hide. I think some of us start off being actors who want to hide. And then the irony I found in doing Deep Space Nine is that, the incredible irony was, I put on the goddamn mask, and man, I felt as naked as a plucked jaybird. Honest to God, it was like,
that's pretty naked.
Yeah.
Yeah, Max, and I heard you saying along the same lines about Grand Nega's Rom trying to do the right thing and get the right support to make changes. And I feel like that comes from your own personal beliefs, kind of infusing that into the character. Is that right? Or?
I agree with what everybody's saying. But for me, I think I think the writers have to find you. Right. When they cast a show, Ira Bear told me this in the last few years while we were working on a documentary. When they cast a show, Rom was going to be the tough Ferengi, and Quark was going to be, the bossed around by Rom. And they looked at it after a few episode or two, and they said, "No, we got this wrong. But Max can't boss around Armin. It doesn't have that. It just doesn't have that in them. So I think the writers and Armin was much better at being bossy. And I think they find stuff in you and they adjust you. So I'm trying to think if they do that to make it just makes more screen sense. It looks better on screen. And yeah, they give you. They find who you are and they try to write to that.
No, that's beautiful, man.
That's one thing I feel that happened with Armin and with Quark and Rom.
I love that.
So,
they have to find you.
You know,
I do feel a great kinship with Rom. I mean, he's a better man than I am, but I am like him. He's a better man than I am, but he comes from me. So there's hope for me yet.
You are him and he is you.
Yeah, and I am the walrus. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody's a better man than you, Max. Come on. Sirach and I talk about that a lot on our show, about the writing and how phenomenal it is, coupled with the incredible cast of actors that just blow us away. I mean, it's hard to decide what made Deep Space Nine so incredible. Is it the acting or is it the writing? But they're both head and shoulders above almost anything else. And we do notice over and over again how, like in the first season, the writers are writing the show. By the second and third season, the writers they're still writing it, but they're writing it adjusted to the actors. We do see that with Captain Sisko. Eventually they realize, look, this guy's not a commander. He's the captain. We can let him grow out his goatee. We can let him shave his head. We can let him be a captain. We can let him be a little tougher, a little more brooding. Same thing with Max and Rom, and same thing with Armin and Quark. They kind of start adjusting to, as you say, what makes sense, what makes screen sense. And we see it all over the place on Deep Space Nine, especially. So that's a testament to the actors almost rewriting the script. They say like the writers write it and then it gets rewritten a lot of times by the editors. But in this case, the actors and their delivery almost rewrite it, right?
Well, I think that's always the case with successful shows. There are shows in which, you can see that, speaking personally, I've been in shows where, the writers just weren't interested in finding out me. They just, that wasn't their thing. They had their image, they had their version of who I was supposed to be. And that's what they wanted. And that's a lot less interesting than what Max just said about how they found us. And that makes for the most exciting performance.